Hello and welcome to Tell Me About Gaming. Sit back, relax, and open up those ears because today I'm going to be talking to you guys about a newly released indie game by the name of Shopkeeper. Let's get into it. Now, just a quick disclaimer before we actually get into the review. I want to let you guys know that I was provided a review copy by the developers, so a huge thank you to them for doing that. If it wasn't for awesome development teams like this, I wouldn't be able to continue bringing these videos to you guys, so as always, I really do appreciate it, but I just wanted to make you guys aware that I was provided a free copy of the game. Now with that being said, let's actually start the review. So, in a nutshell, you are a shopkeeper. What a surprise, am I right? You're given a loan to start your business, and you must pay back that loan weekly, as well as run a successful shop, maintain your customers, and find new items in dungeons. That's basically the game in one sentence. Now, of course, the game goes a lot more in-depth than that, and there's a lot more things to these systems, but we're going to be talking about that later on in this review, because first, I want to begin by talking about the things that I don't necessarily enjoy all that much in this game, and that I think could definitely use some work. And in that list, first up is going to be the art style. So, as I am sure you can already tell, this is a pixel art game. Now, pixel art is an interesting direction to bring your game in because sometimes it can be amazing and emotional, and other times it can be really quite horrible, to be honest. And in this game's case, it's neither. The artwork in Shopkeeper is good, but that's really about it. It's not bad, and it's also not great. For the main part, it stays pretty consistent, and there is some variation in environments and artwork, but it honestly never does anything all that amazing. There was simply just never a moment where I stopped and thought to myself, wow, that's absolutely beautiful. The art does what it has to in this game, and that's about it. It doesn't really promote anything like emotions or thoughts, and it doesn't have any standout moments, and to sum it up in one sentence, it's just decent artwork, and that's about it. It gets the job done, as I said. Now, to be fair, this isn't really the type of game that needs to boast amazing artwork. It's not some open world adventure game like Hyper Light Drifter, and it's not this game that focuses completely on story and art and all those artistic sides of games. It's a simulator, it's a management game, so really the gameplay was put first. However, I think there is still definitely some room for improvement on the art, and I wanted to mention it. Now, in terms of music and sound, let me get something out of the way right off the bat. The music in this game is good. At the start. Overall, the music actually sounds quite nice and is pretty well done. It's catchy and it fits into the world. However, there is not a lot of variation to it, and in fact, by the first half hour, I was getting pretty annoyed with the soundtrack. Now, thankfully, as I said, the music that is present in the game is well done and it sounds very nice, because if it was bad on top of being played over and over too much, I would probably go insane. In terms of ambient sounds and sound design, I really have no complaints. Nothing stood out as sounding weird, and I never really noticed anything I disliked, so when it comes to the sound design, a big 2 thumbs up to the developers for that. If more music was added in the future and there was some more variation to the tracks heard in the game, I think the music in this game could actually be very, very good. It just needs to be worked on, it needs more stuff to be added because at the moment, while it does sound good, you hear it a little bit too much. Okay, so now that we have all the artistic sides of the game out of the way, let's talk about the thing that is really most important in these types of games, and the thing that you guys are probably going to care about the most, and that is the gameplay. And thankfully, this is where the game really shines. In Shopkeeper, players get to play in 3 different scenarios, all of which have their own systems, are unique from each other, and are very well designed. First off, players can begin their day by either heading straight to their shop or into one of the several dungeons. Let's say, for example, you decide to go to the dungeon first. Your character will make his way through the area, killing enemies along the way, and the enemies will drop items for you to pick up and use or sell in your shop. Now, the actual act of fighting is automatic, and the player has nothing really to do with it, other than upgrading his character and providing him with items and heals. Instead, players must take the items that are dropped and drag them into their bags, in almost a Tetris-style gameplay. In its simplest form, you have to try your best to fit as much as you can into your inventory, but obviously there are more to the system than just that. Players can acquire and equip different bags, which have different slots and different layouts, meaning that the way you collect your items is actually going to change and you'll have to move them depending on the type of bag you have. The dungeon the player is going through can also present its own challenges and its own scenarios with grabbing items, and there's really just enough here to keep it simple and enough to keep it very fun and interesting. Overall, the dungeons are very unique and I really enjoy the way they were designed. It's a fresh type of gameplay from your typical click the enemy to attack and click number 1 to use a spell, and I think it's very, very well done. Big thumbs up to the developers when it comes to this area of the game. So now that you've gotten your items and you're done with the dungeon, you can actually head back to your shop, and this is where more of the magic happens. Once you're in the pre-stage of your shop, you can actually do a lot of different things. You can upgrade it, you can make it look different, you can add more furniture, or you can even craft things which allow you to make better items to sell and use, and you can also buy things from other merchants. Now, there is a lot of things to do here, and there's a lot of systems in place. For example, if you were to put an armor table in your shop and actually display armor on that table to sell, there's bonuses to that. On top of that, there's different factions that will visit your store and give you certain gifts depending on how much they like you, and there's several different ones like the merchants and the blacksmiths, so that adds another thing to the gameplay. On top of that, as I said, you can actually redesign and decorate your shop yourself, so you can make it look how you like, and you can do whatever you want with it. Now, on a weekly basis, you have to pay back a loan that you are owed to someone, and in order to do that, you have to make sure that you have enough money in your account. On the easier modes, this isn't too difficult. However, I have heard that if you play on the hardest difficulty, this can be extremely challenging. So if you're somebody who's used to this type of genre and this type of game, maybe consider trying the harder difficulty. But if you have issues with that and you wanted it to just be more of a relaxing experience like I was, then you can go with the lower chill mode, which is very fun and very well done. Now, as I also mentioned, you can craft things by buying recipes, getting the items required, and craft those up to better items in order to sell them in your shop for more gold, or to use them in the dungeons. That's basically the core of the pre-setup phase to your shop. There's obviously a lot more to it than just that, but I can't go into every system or we would be here for hours. Just know that everything that is here is very well done, it works well, it's interesting, it gives you a sense of uniqueness, and overall I very much enjoy it. There's a lot of content here and it's very well designed. Now, the last actual gameplay scenario in the game is the selling phase, and this is when customers will actually come to your shop and decide if they want to buy your items. This is the phase that has the least amount of stuff to it, and it more or less just becomes a clicker game, but surprisingly, it's still actually pretty fun and enjoyable and keeps your interest. So while customers are walking by, you can actually poke on them to get their attention, or you can even call in advertisements in order to get more customers. You can polish your tables by clicking on them to make things look prettier. You can click on the birds flying by to receive more money. I don't really know why, I guess they just happen to have some coins in their feathers, but why not? Let's just not question it and keep going. And it's basically just a clicker during the selling phase. However, it's still fun, it's short, so it's interesting and addictive, and you really don't have to do it for too long. So if you're somebody who doesn't like clicker style games, don't worry, you're not going to be in this gameplay phase for more than like a minute before moving on to the other ones. It's probably the shortest stage of the game for gameplay. So if you like clickers, you'll enjoy this. If you don't worry, there's not much of it, but overall I think it's well done, it's fun, and it keeps your interest, so another big thumbs up. Overall, the gameplay is what really shines in this game. It's very well designed, it's fun, unique, interesting, and addictive, and that's the big word. It's very, very addictive. I have to be honest, when I started playing this game, I was kind of worried. I thought to myself, I don't think I'm going to really like this. However, I ended up playing so much of it because I just couldn't stop. I kept telling myself one more turn, and then I realized how long I had been playing and I finally quit. So the game is definitely very addictive, and that's important. Now, there's two things I want to mention. First of all, I think this game would be amazing on mobile. So developers, if you're listening to this, if you are able to port this game to mobile devices, it fits perfectly into that style. And I think this would be so great to play on a phone and on the go. So that's definitely a big suggestion. Also, the last thing I want to mention is whether or not I think it's fun, and I can happily say I think this game is a lot of fun. If you enjoy this genre, you're going to like it. Even if you don't enjoy this style of game, I think there's still a lot of fun to be had, and I certainly had a good time with it. Now, at its current price point, as I said, if you like this style of game, I think it's definitely worth it, and it's worth that price. If you're not a huge fan of this style of game, and you're just kind of interested in maybe trying it but don't really know, I'd recommend maybe waiting for a little bit of a sale, but if you do jump in and buy it right now, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. The content that you get in this game is definitely well worth the money. In fact, it's kind of sad that for an $8 game, this game has a lot more content than some games that cost $30, $40, even $70. So big thumbs up for that. So everybody, that's going to be it for this review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Once again, thank you to the developers for providing me with a key. I very much appreciate that. If you guys want to check out the game, I will link to the Steam page in the description below so you can go look at it for yourself. Again, if you enjoyed the review, make sure to drop a thumbs up so that I know you like this type of content. Leave a comment, tell me what you think about this game. Are you interested in playing it? Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like these types of videos, I make them all the time. And if you really want to support the channel and help me keep things running, please make sure to check out my Patreon and my Twitter. Links will be in the description below. That's the absolute best way to help me out. So as always, everyone, thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see your beautiful minds in the next video.